Welcome back to the 903 podcast. This week, I sat down with Jackie Woodfin, the Upper Room Doula. I talked with her about the responsibilities and benefits of a doula during and after pregnancy. We chatted about the doula collective that she has been putting together, and we discussed the importance of all forms of support in a new mother's life. Here's what's happening in the 903. Welcome back to the 903. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Today we're in Tyler, Texas at the Young Professional Building, and thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. Haven't thanked them in a minute. We've got Rex Consulting, Hoot and Holler down in Gun Barrel City, The Vault, Houdini's, Humidor, and then Raymond Plunkett is with Goosehead. Thank you guys and girls so much for sponsoring us. Really appreciate it. Without you, we can't create the content and have all the good and fun stuff. Can't have Waylon over there producing our content, and appreciate you guys so much for supporting us. Without further ado, we've got Jackie Woodfin.
Hello.
Jackie, you are a certified doula.
That's
and
correct.
You are the Upper Room Doula as well.
That's correct.
Before reaching out to you, I didn't know what a doula was. So it was fun doing the research. And it's going to be fun talking to you about what you do and all that good stuff. But before you were a doula, you were in the fitness side of things. Talk me a little bit through like what you were doing before this and maybe a little bit about the transition.
Yeah, sure. So my passion has always been in birth. I do love birth. I love birth work. I'm fascinated with the human body and women and the miracle of birth. But in helping women along the way, fitness was just a natural thing for me. I've always been in health and fitness, and so I always taught group fitness, teaching women how to take care of their bodies, helping women reach their goals through fitness and nutrition. And then I did that for 20 years. I still do that. I still teach group fitness virtually now, because we know COVID changed a lot of things for that.
Did.
So I teach online virtual classes, but I transitioned in 2019 and decided once my kids were grown, because I've always wanted to be in birth work. I always wanted to do, I didn't really even know what a doula was either when I was young, but as I learned what a doula was, I was like, that is the role I could see myself in, serving women and helping women reach their goals. But it is very time intensive. It's very, you're on call a lot, you're gone a lot. You don't know if you walk out the door if you're gonna be gone 3 hours or 3 days. And that's very hard to do with young children. And so I'm a mom of 5, and I was raising babies and homeschooling my kids and things like that. So I waited to pursue being a doula until they were grown. And so, and then in 2019, I decided to pursue it. And I got certified. I'm actually dual certified. I went through 2 different agencies to get certified to be a doula. I just wanted to be prepared. A lot of people don't know that you don't have to be certified. We have no governing agency, so to speak. Here in Texas, I feel like that's coming. Anytime something rises up in popularity, the government wants to kind of get their fingers on it, right?
Sounds a lot like Botox, a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of
where it's getting to that point where they're going to start regulating
who can, how they can do it. And I see the good and bad part of that. But I made the decision in 2019 to go the certification route. And I'm so thankful that I did, because what came after 2019 was
COVID.
2020. And every hospital in our area you couldn't attend births unless you were certified doula, because they were only limiting you to one partner in your birth space, and that's usually the dad, or and they so they were not allowing an extra person unless you were certified. And so thankfully I didn't miss any births through COVID, because I did have my certification. So that is a plus and a positive, and I just think it's beneficial if you're going to jump into something that you want to be trained in and have the wisdom and the knowledge that other people who've gone before you have poured into that. So
yeah, I would assume that somebody who's not certified is maybe one that is just dabbing their toe in it, or trying to do it on the side maybe, or
it could be that they were brought up in a midwifery family, or they actually have served with, I'm not saying that someone who isn't certified is not a good doula, because there are women who have been serving as doulas for decades who never were certified, but they were trained with other women who know birth very well, and so they could be good at it. I'm not saying that they're not, but it could be that. And there are some who are just like, I'm just going to YouTube what it is, and I'm going to call myself a doula. So there's both ends of that spectrum. For me personally, though, it was important that I felt like I had those credentials and had that credibility behind me to say to people who I wanted them to invite me into one of the most intimate times of their lives, to trust that I knew what I was doing, and had that, because I didn't grow up in a midwifery family or grow up in an OB family or know about that. I'm a mother and I've given birth, but to be able to serve another woman in birth, I wanted to have that credibility of being credentialed in that way.
So serving the mother. Let's talk about what do you do compared to what do you not do?
Yes. So doulas are non-medical. I think this is one of the most common misconceptions that people have. They equate us to midwives or to OBs. They put us in that medical realm, and we are non-medical support. We help moms and dads. We serve the whole family with information, education, support, emotional, even spiritual support through pregnancy, labor, birth, and postpartum. We want to be that support that helps them feel confident in what they're doing in giving birth, because it is can be a very scary situation.
Okay. So you just mentioned a couple of categories. So you've got doula, and you have midwife, you have OBGYN, then you have nurses.
Yes.
So how do these entities, how are they different, or are they intermingled in some ways? Or
sometimes they are intermingled. I will say they are all incredibly beneficial in the birth space in their own way. And doulas, we don't come in and replace any of those.
Okay.
Our goal as doulas is to work cohesively with them to help our clients be supported the best way. So midwifery care typically is out of hospital in home births or birth centers, although some hospitals now have nurse midwives that serve in the hospital realm too, under an OB. Outside of the hospital, midwives do home births and birth center. And I kind of equate it like this. So my husband and I are boaters. Like, we love to boat activity. We live on the lake. I'm a skier. I love to ski. We can hop in that boat. My husband is an incredible driver. He can drive that boat and pull me as a skier. And he can do that all by himself. But do I want that? Do I feel the safest that way? Do I feel taken care of the most that way? No, because I want a spotter in the boat. That I want my husband to do what he does best, and that's to navigate this boat to get me to where we're supposed to go safely. And then I want a spotter that has eyes only on me, and all they're doing is making sure I'm comfortable, the speed is correct, communicating with the driver of the boat what's going on. In midwifery care, we don't replace the midwife. We come in and help her do her job well. So, and her to do what only she can do. We're non-medical, right? So we can't do a midwife's role. They can serve as doula, but they're also going to have to serve as midwife. And so that splits their role. And can they do that? Yes. But if I was having a baby, I'd want her to do just what she can do, and then have the doula supporting my comfort, my progression, things like that, that can serve the midwife to help the overall experience. OBs, the same. It is different. Obviously, they're in hospital, and they are, honestly, in our role with OBs, it's a very minimal contact because they're just there for the birth.
Right.
They, in the hospital, the OBs
be the catcher.
That's exactly right. They're there when the nurses call and say, "Hey, baby's about to be born, come on." They might pop in if you're in the hospital for a length of time. They may pop in and say hi to, and check on their patient, of course. But our contact with them is very minimal, but pivotal. It's important because it's a very critical time in the mama's life. And they're supporting our clients through their whole pregnancy. And our role is to educate and give our clients, current evidence-based information. And sometimes they're getting some from their OB, Sometimes there's a little rub there with OBs. Not all. We have some incredibly supportive OBs for doulas, but sometimes they don't like that if we give them other information.
Especially if they're maybe a little more old school, or
especially if they're a little more old school, just because it's been done. It's like we've been doing this way for years, and a lot of times they come from biases because understandably they've likely seen the worst of the worst outcomes, right? And they don't want to see the worst of the worst again. So they navigate towards a very protective protect themselves. You know, we live in a very litigious society. Insurance has wrecked things, I feel like, in our medical care. That ties their hands a lot, and they have to do things a certain way, and we don't. You know, we don't work for the medical world. We don't work for hospitals. We don't work for the OBs. We serve the clients. So I'm going to give them all the information, unbiased. It doesn't matter to me what they choose. I'm going to give them both sides. All the sides. And sometimes they don't get that from their providers because there's a little bias there. And so sometimes there's a rub where they don't necessarily want us to be giving the information like that. But we do have a great relationship with a lot of OBs. I think once OBs catch on that their patients are going to have a more positive birth experience, and why would you not want that?
Right.
If they have a doula, there are some that are I get lots of referrals from some OBs here in town, and that's extremely encouraging for us. You know, it's come a long way. So
that's great.
And the nurses serve in the hospital, obviously, and they do have more contact with the patient because when the patient goes into the hospital, they're assigned a nurse.
Sure.
But again, it's limited because they have other patients.
Mostly vitals and
and they can't be in the room. It cannot be continual care. And every study, all current studies show that when a woman has continual birth support, she has fewer C-sections, a more positive birth experience, less traumatic experience, and but nurses, and they're amazing, and they serve our clients very, very well, but they cannot logistically be in there with the patient the entire time. And
I imagine those numbers probably go up a lot more for first-time pregnancies.
That's right.
Yeah, because there's a lot of anxiety there.
A lot.
And anything that happens that's doesn't feel right, or what they've heard, what you've read about or heard happens, I would imagine that would be scary for the mom and the partner.
That's exactly right.
So,
and just to have someone in that room with you the whole time that you can lean on, that you can turn to for support, for information, like what is going on, like to bring a calm presence to the room, to be like, okay, this is normal, especially for the dads, like to help them understand this is perfectly normal what's going on here. Don't panic, like she's good, I promise, this is okay. Yeah,
because we've all watched the episodes where the mom dies or something, or you know, what
TV and movies have like
it's horrible.
Ruined the experience. You know, we have some good sound clips and some good sound bites from them, but unfortunately that's skewed a lot of reality for families in the birth space. And so it's kind of hard, but to navigate, to help dads navigate what's going on with them too, But the nurses, we work very well with them. I love serving with them as a support.
They probably take a breath out whenever they see a doula.
I hope
they're like, thank the Lord, because I don't have to, you know, I'll get buzzed in like, you know, 100 times or whatever. So
true. And I do hear that. I have been getting that feedback from nurses when, you know, go to the hospital and they're like, we love working with you. It just help from little details in the room, like just helping them change a bed out. Like I support them, because if I can support that nurse in helping my client, it helps my client.
Yeah, of course.
If I can take the load off of that nurse and be like, I got this. You do what only you can do, and I can clean this mess up. You do what only you can do, and I can do this. And when you work together like that with providers, it only serves your clients better.
For sure. Yeah. All right. So your clients are mostly, do they contact you prior to the positive test, or do you see more of them like, hey, we're pregnant, and then contacting you? How does it normally work?
Usually they already have the positive. I have had some reach out to me we're trying to get pregnant, wanting
Yeah,
to.
what does your schedule look like?
Wanting advice. For hiring purposes, there is no way to, because you can't determine when they're going to get pregnant and if there's availability for that month. But what I do for those clients who reach out prior is just give them some valuable information of what they can be looking for and navigating in these early stages, and then as soon as they're pregnant, what they can do to hire a doula and things they can look for to hire, and not just a doula, but a provider that matches what they want in their birth plan. So there are things that I do to help educate people, but 90% of them contact me after
the positive.
And some on the day of. Some will contact me before they even have let their partner know.
Right. Wow.
So but then some wait, and unfortunately we do book out, pretty far in advance. And so unfortunately sometimes if you wait too long to book your doula, if you want a specific doula, you may not get them.
Right.
So, but I always say just reach out. And if I'm booked, I have referrals. I have people that I trust, other doulas in the area that I always refer out to. Usually they're contacting me pretty quickly after a positive pregnancy, and definitely within the first trimester.
Yeah. How many clients do you serve at a time?
A month. 4 to 7-ish. And
Are those folks that are at the finish line, or are these people that? What I'm asking, I guess. So if I called you today and you were like, "I'm sorry, I'm full."
Yeah.
What would that be for you to say that you're full?
For the month, like how many clients a month? Is that what you're asking?
Active clients.
Active clients are 4 to 7, and it depends honestly on what my family has going on that month.
Okay.
You see, like if we're gone the first week of the month, I try not to schedule clients that might be due in that time period, but if they're due at the end of the month, so that would limit my number. If I'm open the whole month, 5 to 7. 7's a lot. I have taken 7. It's very specific on those cases. If they're repeat clients that I don't have to do a lot of work through the pregnancy with, we don't have to spend a lot of time getting to know each other because we've been around, we've done this all. So I'll take more of those. Sometimes it's more if it's brand new parents who've never had babies, brand new, or there's some higher risk to them. I try to limit that more to 4-ish a month. Like right now I'm booked out through November, which is incredible.
Yeah, that is that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Whew.
I know,
Okay.
but and I'm in the era of repeat clients, a lot of repeat clients, and they know call Jackie early, book early, and so a lot of them are repeat clients, booking out. It's exciting, but it just depends on the month and what my family has going on.
Right. So you have clients you have more than 7 between now and November, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but I mean, some of them are gonna fall off your client list because they
had the baby.
They had the baby,
Yes.
like last night or this morning.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's a pretty hefty workload, and I imagine that you take a lot of questions, or where people are like sending you the partner and the mom are both sending you messages.
It's a lot.
Asking questions or sending videos. Is this normal? Or hey, it could be something positive, like check this out, the baby moved today, or whatever it may be.
Updates on the point. It is a lot and that is why we are limited to the number we can take, because the births, like we could do a birth every other day, right? That's not, but we have prenatal appointments and postpartum appointments, because we meet prenatally with these clients 2, 3, sometimes 4 times prior to, and then a couple of times at least. It depends. It's specific to clients what their needs are. So it's not just the births. It's the appointments before. It's the appointments after, and all the in between, connections and them reaching out to us to answer questions, to give us updates on their appointments. And almost every single time they're like, they brought up this, I want more information on that. So it is. And then being on call 24/7, because we go on call typically 38 weeks to 42 weeks. We're on call for a client. So if we have 4 clients a month or 5 clients a month,
that's a lot.
we're on call 24/7, and that's why it's very important to have strong support backup doulas. I have an incredible connection or collective of doulas, the East Texas Doula Collective. We just launched this year, and it's been a way that we can support each other. We teach prenatal classes together. We teach once a month, the second Saturday of every month. We all come together as a collective and teach a big community-wide prenatal class, pregnancy, birth.
So it was like
class.
at a karate dojo or something?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
That's exactly right. Because the owner is one of our doulas in the collective, and so she's allowed us to go in this beautiful space that serves very well. So we open it to the community, but we also, it's part of the package for our clients that they get a free birth class because it's important for them to learn, and it helps us to educate them. And in that class, they get to meet all the other doulas so that if I was out of town or if I was sick or if I was at another birth and I needed to have a backup doula, they've already met her. And it's not fear, and they're not like, who is walking into my birth space in a very intimate, personal situation that I've never met before. Because one of the things we want to do in the birth space is reduce fear and anxiety. And if you if you put in something that causes a mom to go, whoa, what's going on, that can affect her birth, right? So as a collective, we've come together to support each other as backup and support doulas, to help educate the community together, the value of doulas, and each family to learn about birth and learn about pregnancy and learn about postpartum.
Yeah. I think this is a good opportunity. We shared a little bit, or I asked, what does that service look like as far as financially? Because like I said, I'd never heard of a doula, didn't know kind of how it breaks down. We just talked about like some of the things that you're doing. You're on call a lot. You're answering a lot of questions. You're going to appointments. You're listening to feedback from appointments. You're working with nurses, doing things that maybe they could do, but you're doing. That's a lot. And when you told me what your fee was, I almost fell over because it would be an absolute no-brainer as the dad, because I mean basically you get two supporters, and you get somebody who's done it before. And that, especially if it was the first, it's like no brainer. I'd eat nothing but rice and beans for months on end to pay for it. But talk to us a little bit about what the cost, and then we'll dive into this. But I think it's a good point for us to talk about, because you've kind of gone through all your areas of responsibility. Hit us with this. It's crazy. You should be charging double.
Thank you. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
No, I think yes, it is a lot of responsibility, and we offer packages, and no doula that I know of wants a family to not have doula support based on finances. So we always try to work with families in that way. But we do have to make a living at it. We are gone. Like I said, we can walk out the door and we don't know if we're gone 3 hours or 3 days. And I just came off this birth that was 2.5 days long.
That's right.
And so you don't know what that's going to be. So as families, we have to be able to support our families too. I think finding that balance where we support families fairly, but everybody has a perspective, a financial perspective, right? So not everybody is going to think, oh, you should charge double, that's nothing. But when we create the value and show the community the value that doulas bring to the birth space, like you already get it and you've not had a doula yet, but you can grasp the concept, you are grasping the value. And that's what our goal is as doulas, is to share with these families what the value is so that they can see that our prices are not unreasonable. As a matter of fact, like you said,
it's like, I was taken back big time because I was expecting, I even did research on what the national average was, and it's roughly double, if not more, than what you're charging locally. And I would assume a lot of doulas in the collective that you have, are probably the fees are close to the same, right?
We're all the same. That's one thing we
that's a good idea.
committed to in the group, is that we're working together collectively, and so we're charging the same collectively to show to the community the value that we bring, in that we're not here to undercut and just, because it can get that way, and you can have doulas that will offer their services for very, very cheap. And I always tell my clients, you can find cheaper doulas. It's like with anything else. You will find a cheaper doula. And if that person is the one that you feel like is you're most connected to, that brings the most value to your birth space, win-win. But that also, a doula that undercharges and really cuts herself short, that leads to burnout. The lifespan, the professional lifespan of a doula is 3 to 5 years.
Ooh.
3 to 5 years because of that, because they're not charging what it's worth. And when you go to a 3-day birth and you made no money hourly based on it, that wears you down.
Sure.
and it wears your family down.
Yeah.
You're walking away from your family to serve another family. You're asking your husband to take care of the household for 3 days while you go serve another family for nothing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, and you don't feel valuable either.
Exactly.
So
that leads to burnout.
Right.
I don't want to.
You're building this up, and the fee is still crazy.
Yeah. So we
low
have
for
the
me.
3 packages.
Okay.
3 packages primarily. There are some add-ons and some things you can do, but we have an elite package is our top package. It's $1,800.
Okay.
And then we have a middle package that's $1,600, and an essentials package that's $1,200. And that's not for first-time moms. First-time moms because there's a lot that goes into first-time moms.
Yeah.
It's really more for repeat clients.
Yeah.
We've been around this block.
It's like a management type of service.
Yeah, and it's almost like we're going to be at the birth. We'll do a few things and see if anything has changed since our last time, but it's really to serve you in birth. And so that frees us up to not to have to do as many prenatals and postpartums and really serve them in the birth space. But we also offer plans. We offer pay a retainer, and then you can pay out monthly, and we just don't even care how.
What would you say the biggest difference between like the essential and the elite? What are the differences?
So the elite package, you get the prenatal class is included in that, and that's a 4-hour class that we offer, and we cover everything. And we even do hands-on techniques. We work with the dads and show them how they can support their partners in early labor and in active labor, and how we can work together to serve. So a big part of that class is actually hands-on comfort measures.
Okay.
But we talk about everything from nutrition to postpartum care. And so that includes the class. And then it includes 2 to 3 prenatal appointments and 2 to 3 postpartum appointments. So as you begin to remove some of those appointments, that's where the price difference comes in. And then the essentials.
You're a hands-on consultant at those appointments.
That's right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and then, but through all of them, we have virtual support, and they can reach out to us no matter what package, anytime, and we're there for them for the support to answer questions, any comments, needs, concerns they have. We're kind of their go-to, even if it's just, Jackie, just talk me down. Like, I'm just crying today and I don't know why. And I'm like, let's talk about it. And you can't just call your OB to do that. You can't just call up a nurse.
Yeah, you can't.
But they have my direct line to contact me for anything.
Like, it's such a no-brainer to me. I mean, it's somebody who you can trust and call and say, am I okay? Yeah. And you're just adding the calmness and the expertise and I mean, it's like I said, like I told you before we got started, like I think I hope anybody listening would pay double for that. Honestly, that's just the truth, because for me, 100%, like if we were planning, I'd be like, yes, we're going to just move that over to savings or find a way to get it done. Because
it's funny because the dads tend to be the ones that initially are like, we're going to pay how much for what? Right. Like, what am I, chopped liver? And it's about that, Right. But the dads are also, the God-given role is that protector, provider.
Yeah.
And so when you can hone into that with the dad and say, I'm going to help you protect and provide for her. I'm going to help you do your role better. You know your wife better than I will ever know her. but I know birth better than you will ever know birth.
Right.
I've given birth. I've just had my 117th birth that I've attended. Let me help you serve her well.
Right.
And again, it's just showing the value that you can bring to the space. And then most dads are like, especially once we've been around that block once, they're like every time, like, you are the person.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I will never do this again without you.
That's what I was about to say is they're probably the biggest critic at the beginning.
Absolutely.
But probably the biggest fan after it's done.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Because
I
they're
will get
like,
messages.
I don't know how this could have happened
Yeah.
without you being here.
Yes, and I'm not saying, like, not bragging or anything, but I've had dads that will reach out and say, "You are my hero," and I'm like, "No, I just helped you be the hero to your wife."
Right.
And so, just to give them that safety in someone that they know they can trust and lean on to help them serve their wife through something so tremendous.
Yeah. Let's talk about pregnancy. I've never been pregnant before.
What?
No. And I told you, I came into a ready-made family. So
Yes, I love
we
that.
had our son already before we met. So
Yes.
I didn't really get to go through the whole process. So talk me through the first trimester. What are some of the thoughts, feelings, mentality, things that you hear from your clients, or things that you have to tell them or kind of educate them on?
Yeah, the first trimester is really the time where they're figuring out a lot of times who they want as a provider and what they want in their birth experience. A lot of clients that come to me do want like a more natural experience or less interventions and things like that, but not all. Some come to me and are like, I want every intervention there is, but I want the support and I want the wisdom and the knowledge, someone to help me, and someone that I feel like is my advocate and they can help me advocate for what I want. So the early first trimester is just helping them kind of navigate providers, helping them navigate what their birth plan is. And we actually sit down and go over birth preferences. I don't really like to call it a plan, but what are your preferences? What do you want? And then I give them resources and information to make those decisions of what they want. I never want them to want what I want. I'm never going to push what I want on a client, but just to hear them, listen to their heart and what they're feeling. And one of the things I ask is, if you could describe to me your most perfect birth experience, what would it look like to you? Because sometimes they don't know the specifics that are on this birth plan of what to ask for and what to not want or say they want or don't want. But they know what they want it to feel like. They know what they have envisioned in their mind of what it would look like. And based on that, then we start with preferences. Okay, if you want more natural, then you're probably not going to want this. This is something you need to have a discussion with your provider. So we give them information that they can take back to their provider and talk about how good that is for them. How can that serve them, and because there are some preferences that they may want that doesn't line up with what they should have based on their own personal, what's going on with them personally, and their provider will know that and be able to help them.
Do you find that most women that call you and begin services, do they have a plan typically in their mind? Like they've thought about if I did get pregnant or, or previously I did this and I would like to do it differently this time or whatever? First
time moms typically I think we're living in a generation right now, this generation coming up in the, of more natural, where they're leaning more and seeing how interventions can cause what we call this cascade of interventions that oftentimes leads to negative birth outcomes or negative birth experiences.
Interventions, you mean like having a C-section? Is that intervention?
No,
or is that medication?
Yes,
okay.
An intervention would be like inductions.
Okay.
Things in the hospital. There are things when you go into the hospital that are just standard of care that are interventions. So there's physiological birth, where a mom it's all natural. Her body just operates and functions as it should in an all natural physiological birth. And anything that's added to that, even a doula, I'm an intervention.
Okay.
I'm in it, but specifically like in a hospital setting, IVs, having students in the room, having medications, having Pitocin to induce having a Foley bulb, interventions, an epidural, pain management, anything like that is an intervention that everything comes with a risk, right? So if a mom says, I don't want to be induced, compared to a mom who says, I want to be induced, well, the mom who's going to be induced is induced in several different ways, but either way has a risk that can cause, okay, we gave her this Pitocin, and now the baby didn't tolerate it well, and now we have to do this. It leads to a cascade of interventions that sometimes can lead to a C-section, can lead to a traumatic experience or traumatic birth or demise sometimes, which, is terribly sad. But so a lot of moms know they don't want interventions, but some don't know. That's why we have the conversation early on. Is what would that look like for you? And we talk risks and benefits, and then they get to weigh that out. They get to discuss that with their partner, with their provider, and see what it's worth to them. A lot of moms want an epidural. That doesn't come without risks. And I'm not against epidurals. I've seen them serve women very well. Do I think they're overused? I think routinely, yes. And it does lead to some things that can happen. Epidurals do have risks. When they're good and they're perfect and nothing happens, it's amazing. But when they're not, it's not. So just having those discussions and sharing that information with mamas that they may not know what that risk is, because they're not told, because they hear from all their friends, oh, girl, get the epidural. Oh, girl, it's the best thing I ever did.
I couldn't have done it without it.
Oh, it was the best thing I ever did. But there's always another side. And more, there are a lot of risks associated with interventions. So a lot of clients, but I do have not necessarily repeat clients to me, but second-time mom, third-time moms who had a traumatic first experience, and they're like, I know I don't want that again. So the opposite of that is this, and you come with that. So,
Gotcha. Do you talk more about the pain management piece during the second and third, or is it throughout?
That's kind of later on. We do discuss that because it's always in the back of the mind. It's a big part of what we do, and it's a big part that's on a woman's brain. When she gets pregnant and, thinking about the birth and what that entails, it's, because it is intense. It is intense. And you'll hear women say, I had a pain-free birth. That does happen, but that's rare. Birth is intense. It's painful, if you will. But it is manageable. God has designed our bodies to do this, and done the right way with the right people, it can be done with less interventions, including pain management. And I shouldn't say pain management because we offer pain management, but pharmaceutical pain managements that come with risks. As doulas, one of our primary roles is comfort measures, and that is helping moms get through every single contraction as comfortably as possible. And we use lots of different tools for that, including our hands. But, we come with a Mary Poppins bag of tools. But to help moms prepare, a lot of it is mental. So we do a lot of breath work, a lot of focus, because I can bring every tool in my toolbox. But if a mom is out of control with her breath or her focus, it's not going to matter. It's only going to make her mad and annoying in her, But if we can get that first and help a mom with breath and focus, and then put all the tools on top of that and get through one contraction at a time as comfortably and effectively as possible. That's the second thing that we do, is help moms navigate through labor to get baby down and come in an optimal position and get through labor effectively, because there are some position changes and things that we can do when we know where baby is, position of baby, how mom's contraction pattern is. Then we know how to get mom the positions that she may need to be in that serves her well. And listen, we could have a whole podcast on just that.
But it's like super interesting.
It is, because physiologically,
you're like moving them around.
It's not. I think a lot of people think doulas are just like, you can do it. We're just cheering you on.
From afar.
We're going to hold your hand. We're going to hold you can do it. Oh, you can get through. No, there's a physiological thing that happens with the women's pelvis in relation to baby coming down, and knowing Do we need to open the inlet? Do we need to give more space in the middle? Do we need to open the outlet? And that comes with positioning mom.
Yeah.
So that's the second part of what we do is comfort measures and progression, helping mom progress through labor effectively and efficiently, because every mom wants to get through labor efficiently. We want to shorten that.
Yeah.
And then helping dad help her, helping navigate that room, helping them be educated and informed in making decisions.
That was exactly what I was about to ask. Like, you're doing all this. What's partner doing?
Yes.
Like standing there and saying, great, this is a fun show?
Yeah.
Or?
So it's funny because I have dads, it's a pendulum. I do have some dads that come in saying, I just want to hold her hand and tell her she's beautiful and telling her if she's doing a good job. I don't want to do anything else. They don't want to do any of the other part. I'm like, great, I got you.
Yeah.
On the other end, I have dads that are like pounding their chest. I want to do it all. I just don't know what, when, how, and why. So you tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But usually,
where do I stand?
You tell me what to do. But usually it's in the middle. Usually it's an I do, you do, we do. I say I'm a gap filler. I'm like, I want her served well.
Right.
And if that's you doing it, perfect. And I'm just here to fill in what you're missing and helping you. Or if I'm doing it all and you're doing a little, it doesn't matter. I just want all the gaps filled so she is served the best. And so that's where we work as a partner team to help her. And so it truly a lot of times is helping him know even what to say sometimes, or knowing, she's going through transition.
That would be the biggest thing for me is like
this is not the time
saying
to
the wrong
be funny.
thing. Right.
Dads, because and they don't know, and I'm like, oh, shh. This
that would be like the most difficult room to read ever.
Yes,
because you're there and you've never been there, and you're like, everybody's serious, and so in serious situations, it's easy to make a joke to lighten the mood, but it's like the absolute wrong thing to do. So everybody just wants to be serious.
It's just like knowing how to serve her, and he doesn't know because he doesn't know what stage of labor she's in. And so helping him navigate that. But also I help dads, even before I'm ever there, setting him up for success with her in early labor, which, we don't go in early labor because mom is just now feeling those things, but she still needs a little support. He can be her number one person, whether that's keeping her hydrated, keeping her fed, massaging her feet, giving some comfort, to her, and helping him know. So he comes out at the end of this, the hero that helped her bring their baby into the world. It's not about me. It's not to highlight me as a doula. If I do it all, fine, but I still want him to feel like he was supported in helping her, and I want her to feel like I had the best dang team, to do this. So
for sure. And now a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Red Construction and Development LLC. If you are looking to build or remodel and need the highest quality, best reputation, and 3D rendering, look no further than Red Construction. Call Thomas and his team at 903-630-8660 today. This episode is sponsored by Hoot and Holler Beverage. When I think of Hoot and Holler, their selection and customer service first comes to mind. So skip the big box franchises and make the trip to Hoot and Holler in Gun Barrel City. Between barrel picks, mixers, seltzers, whatever you need for the weekend, they'll help you find it. Stop by today. Scott and team are ready. This episode is sponsored by the Humidor. If you are looking for cigars and want to enjoy a few hours in a great environment with a great staff, the Humidor should be your next stop. With their vast selection and new bar, you'll have a great time every time. This episode is sponsored by Vault Arms, the premier destination for all things firearm related. So if you're in the market for handguns, rifles, or supplies, stop by Vault Arms at 4740 South Broadway or their indoor range at 417 West Elm in Tyler. Now back to the 903 podcast. All right, so boom, the baby comes out. And
Wish it was like that.
yeah, boom, at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy, and baby's happy, family's happy. The postpartum part of it is really the part that I felt like was most interesting. Well, it's very complicated because you have this new life that you've created, and from what I'm reading, the dad's not really like they just go along like, and you got a new baby and you got to take care of it, and we're problem solvers kind of by creation.
What's my role?
Yeah, and but then the mom has a tendency of slipping into some anxiety and depression, which is I don't get. Help me understand that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things postpartum, and I'm not, so there's immediate postpartum right after baby's born. That's usually euphoric for both of them.
Yes.
Really, there are things.
Definitely for the baby.
Yeah, definitely for the baby.
Whoa.
Yes, but the mom's so relieved, dad's so relieved. It is a euphoric time, but there's, there are things immediate postpartum that both mom and dad are not prepared for, that we help them navigate through that immediate postpartum. But I think you're talking about like we're home with baby now.
What's the immediate? What is it?
Yeah, that's right after baby is born.
Yes.
Usually, typically the first 2 to 4 hours immediate postpartum, where some things are happening with the mom physiologically, with the baby, and they're acclimating in this immediate family. Like all of a sudden we're a family.
Yeah.
But there are things with mom in birth, like just for example, that I think one of the most surprising things for mom and dad in immediate postpartum are shakes. Like a woman shakes uncontrollably, almost like literally shaky like this from hormone surges.
Yeah.
The adrenaline surge.
Yes.
And they're real shaky. It can look very scary. It can feel very scary from the woman's standpoint. But the dad is like, what is wrong?
Yeah. What's wrong?
But that's things we cover in our prenatal classes too, to prepare going in and say, listen, immediate postpartum, and sometimes even right before birth too, a lot of shakies,
I got you.
And to know it's okay.
Yeah.
She is not, an alien's not about to come out of her, maybe.
I had compliments of Caroline on who they do like the service, this area with breast milk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she was, one of the things that she said was that that's common is after birth, the mom's fatigued or there's some sensitivity.
Yes.
And so
she can't nurse.
That's right. And so that's part of the reason why they do that they have this nonprofit that generates the breast milk, and they provide, I think it's like 4 ounces. It's not a lot, 4 or 8 ounces. I can't remember.
But they don't need a lot. Babies don't need a lot in immediate postpartum.
But I mean, that's a support system that was what I'm saying is postpartum. That's a challenge that could happen, is that nursing could be a challenge.
Absolutely, and we cover that too. And actually, in our birth classes, the first hour we bring an IBCLC and a lactation professional. These are nurses that actually went on and got continual education, highly trained in lactation. And the whole first hour, they educate our clients on lactation, and we cover that because those are things that can happen in immediate postpartum. And the biggest thing in postpartum outside of that, when you're talking about depression, postpartum psychosis, there are a lot of things. I think sadly in the world we live in today, there's a detachment after moms have babies. We don't live communally like we used to, for one. Also, especially not so much with midwifery care, OB care, you go home from the hospital and you typically don't go back to your OB for 6 weeks.
Right.
There's not a point of contact unless you're bleeding out, unless there's something going on wrong.
Right.
But a lot of women go home with huge hormone fluctuations, which is number one. They're also exhausted. They're healing their body is bleeding and changing and swollen and hurting and all the things, and they're trying to nurse a baby, and they have no sleep. They're up every 2 hours. There's a lot of
baby appointments too.
Baby appointments, yes, within the first week. They'll go to the pediatrician. Maybe they're having lactation support. All those things. They're trying to navigate, number one, just keeping this human alive, healing your body.
Right.
A lot of emotions that go into it. There's a lot in postpartum for a woman to carry this burden. And sadly, a lot of women struggle postpartum thinking, well, I just had a baby. This is just normal for me to feel this way, to look this way, to have this, to not. So as doulas, we come in, and I like to see my moms within 72 hours of them being home from the hospital, get eyes on them, see, and I can tell, I can walk in and see a mom, her countenance, her appearance, 30 seconds, she needs some resources. She needs something, she's struggling. Maybe it's just a conversation, maybe it's just, you've got this, maybe it's just someone to help her. And dads don't know either.
Let's go outside.
Yeah, let's get in the sunshine,
Yeah.
let me help you, or get some postpartum help around the house, maybe with their other children. Maybe someone just to come do the laundry for her, to pick up the house, to do something that helps her take the load off. That's how we used to be communally. Our families lived sometimes together, mostly close. Nowadays, families, communities, we're spread. We're out, families sometimes across the world. And then also, like, doulas aren't a new concept. We've been around forever. Maybe not by that term, but women serving women. That's what a doula is, a woman who serves a woman. And so to have us be able to go in and get eyes on mom to support her and say, you're not going crazy. You may just need some maternal mental health support. You may need to go back into your provider. That's not normal, you know, to help her, because she's walking through something and thinking maybe this is just the way it's supposed to be when it's not. And they just need some help in postpartum, and dads too. They don't know. And to help them recognize what's going on with their wife, to help them recognize, oh, I need to support her in this way. She needs help in this way.
Yeah, and sometimes his needs aren't going to be met for whatever that is.
That's right.
You know, he could get his head wrapped around that too.
That's exactly right. And to help them navigate that, and I'm telling you, a 6 weeks postpartum period, we're looking at it going, it's just 6 weeks. When you're living that postpartum experience, especially if there are a lot of negatives going on, that is a long time. And that's when you hear about these very traumatic things that happen in postpartum. Those are the peripheral, the extremes, you know, of women, but it does happen. But on a lesser scale than that, even a mom suffering mentally with postpartum depression can oftentimes be just because she's not been supported the way she should be. And that's why we try to help as doulas. Yeah,
very cool. Any red flags that women should look for?
In doulas?
No. Just keep an eye out for.
Oh, yeah.
Just any red flags that women should look out for. You know, whether that be through the process or maybe with their provider. Or just in general.
Yeah. This is such a great question for women looking for that right provider. It kind of goes back to what we talked about a little while ago about what do you want your birth experience to look like? Then let's be very wise in how we choose our providers, because there are providers who are very by the book, old school. They're not going to help you have the birth experience that you're looking for. No. And so, you know, a provider that is dismissive or condescending or kind of belittles you in conversation, or something we call has a God complex, that's kind of like, I'm the provider, you came to me, just trust me in what I'm telling you. You know, if you ask questions or, you know, want to know why they're recommending something, you want more information and they gaslight you or fearmonger you or try to strong arm you into something without giving you solid information that you're asking for, or make you feel ridiculous for what you're asking. I had a client that went into a provider with her birth plan, and she wanted to talk about it, and he looked at it and he went, oh, you're one of those.
Right.
And that's very condescending. I mean, he's trying to be silly, but that's a passive aggressive way of making you be like, you're ridiculous. And if you can strong arm a woman that way, you know, thankfully we have incredible providers, and I'm not here to rag on providers, but some things to look for, or how are you treated? How do you feel in your appointment when you walk in? Do you feel comfortable enough to share? I hate when a client calls and said, I was so nervous to talk to them about that. What? This is a provider that you should feel so comfortable talking about or questioning and saying, no, I want more information on that, or saying, I disagree, or, to want more information is not an affront, but some providers take that personal. And so I would look for a provider that is welcoming for what you want and confident enough to share both sides with you and trust you as the parent to make the right decision once they've given you all the information. Same thing with the doula. I'm going to give them both sides. God didn't give me that baby to make the decision for, and I have clients all the time that make decisions in their birth plans that I would never. But that's not my baby.
Right.
And my goal is not for them to do what I would want. It's to give them the information, both sides, and prayerfully that they make the best decision that's right for their family, for their baby. And so I would look red flags or providers who are condescending, strong arm techniques, that type of thing. And a provider that's on board with what you want. And if they're not, find another provider.
Right.
And a big tip is to ask the doulas in your area. We work with all different providers.
Sure.
We work out of hospital.
That would be
in-hospital.
another benefit, in my opinion, is like, hey, this is what you perceive as your birth plan.
Yeah.
This is probably your best provider.
That's right.
Group. It's going to be this, and this.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the hardest things for me as a doula are clients who come to me and want this, and they choose a provider I know is not conducive to having that birth experience. And as a doula, I'm never going to talk down a provider because they're good. That doesn't mean they're not a good provider.
Right.
They just might not be the best provider for what they're wanting.
Yeah.
And we see like in mom groups, in Facebook, there are groups, there are mom groups, and a woman will just say, who's the best OB? And I'm like, oh, that's a terrible question to ask because it depends on what you want, and you'll get all these answers from women like, oh, this one's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, but they have a 60% C-section rate, but you're okay with a C-section.
Yeah.
And my clients over here are going, I want no interventions.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, no, the better question is, who's the best provider for this? Who's had an experience with this type of birth, and who is your provider? Not just, who's the best OB? Who's the best midwife? What do you want? And so that's why I say we've served with all of these, and we don't like have favorite providers. We have favorite providers for certain birth preferences.
Correct. Yeah. What kind of myths need to die? Like myths about doulas or about pregnancy need to go away.
I think the first one that just popped into my mind when you said that was, once a C-section, always a C-section.
Okay.
This was a common, and I still hear
I don't talk a lot about pregnancies, but I've even heard that one.
Yes, and that is absolutely not true. It may be true for some clients. It depends on why you had to have a C-section. What were the circumstances that led to that? Why did you have to have the C-section? For some women, it may be that that's only their option going forward, but that is not the standard. Most women or our client or potential to have great potential to have VBACs, what we call a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. It's definitely something to talk with providers, and this is a big one because there are some providers who are very VBAC friendly. Proponents of VBACs, and some who are not, who still fall in the category of once a C-section, always a C-section. They don't want to assume the risk of attempting a TOLAC, which we call as trial of labor after cesarean. But I serve lots of VBAC clients, and probably will triple that number because our C-section rate is almost 40%. It's like 35% in Texas, 36% our C-section rate. Yes. And the WHO, the World Health Organization, recommends 10 to 15%. We are.
Why do you think that is?
Interventions.
Okay, gotcha.
Because if you look at it, I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but we also have about that same percentage of inductions.
Interventions cause the baby not to respond, and next thing you know, you're doing a C-section.
A C-section.
I gotcha.
Because of so many inductions. Inductions are huge. Our induction rate has almost tripled since.
You think that's more about just lack of patience?
lack of patience, but I also think
Because
yes,
this is what's convenient for me. It's a
That's
Friday. I want to be home by
Yep.
Monday or whatever.
I want my
it is.
baby to have this birth date. I want to make sure I want to make sure my husband's here, or I want to make sure my doctor's the one on call
Yeah.
delivering my baby.
Oh,
That's
I didn't
a
think
big
about
one.
that. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, and so it just makes sense if you have all these what we call social inductions. I mean, there will always be medically necessary inductions in the world of pregnancy. There will always be reasons that we need to get this baby out. But more than those inductions are what we call social inductions. And those are just convenient inductions for lots of reasons, various
Right.
reasons. But it just makes sense if you try to force a baby out that's not ready, of a body that's not ready, you are more likely to have negative outcomes or a C-section, end in a C-section. So when you see that trending, when you see inductions going up and C-sections going up, and then mom's realizing, oh, I didn't need to have that, or maybe my induction caused that, so I'm not going to have an induction anymore, and they want to have a trial of labor after cesarean or VBAC. We see more and more of that, which just makes sense because we have more C-sections, and now more moms are realizing I can have a VBAC.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to end my podcast with shout outs.
Okay.
But I got a surprise for you.
Uh-oh, I love surprises.
Yeah.
Kind of, except in birth.
So I reached out to a couple of your clients.
What?
Yes, and asked them for testimonials.
No, you did
I
not.
did, yeah. And so I'm going to read a couple of these for you.
I'm going to cry.
First one is Monica.
Oh,
Having Jackie as my doula was something I truly could not have done without. From the very beginning, she was more than just support. She felt like a second mom. She guided me with so much knowledge, patience, and empathy, always making sure I felt informed and never alone. While our birth didn't unfold the way I'd hoped for, Jackie was steady, comforting presence throughout it all. We ultimately had to pivot to a C-section, and she brought calm, reassurance, and unwavering support every step of the way. Her care didn't stop after delivery either. At 6 weeks postpartum, when I found myself in the ER, she showed up for me again, physically and emotionally. That kind of support is rare. Jackie is incredibly compassionate, knowledgeable, and truly has a heart for what she does. I'm forever grateful for the role she played in bringing my daughter into the world and for the way she continues to show up for our family afterwards. We love you, Jackie.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Are there Kleenexes? Oh.
Jessica. Jackie is such a blessing to our family. My husband and I are forever grateful for the way she walked us through pregnancy, labor, and delivery with such wisdom and grace. She made me feel so confident as a first-time mom, especially during labor, always offering steady encouragement, reassurance, and calming presence when I needed it most. Her knowledge and intuition helped us feel prepared and supported every step of the way, and she advocated for us in such a thoughtful and compassionate way. Because of Jackie, our son's birth experience was not only beautiful but empowering, and we will always cherish and care and we will always cherish the care and dedication she gave our family. We are so thankful the Lord placed Jackie in our lives, and we can't wait for the day we get to work with her again.
Those are the best. See, I'm in my repeat client era.
Yeah.
That is so precious. Oh, but wait, there's more.
There's more, yes.
There's more. Thank you. This is so sweet.
This is Allison.
Oh my God.
Picking Jackie as my doula for 2 births now has been one of the best decisions I've made in motherhood. All of motherhood, that's saying a lot. She helped me transform my fear into confidence, which has completely changed me as a woman and a mother. She is incredible. She is an incredible educator, encourager, and advocate for the moment you get the positive pregnancy test to the delivery room. I can't imagine going through pregnancy, birth, or postpartum without her. She has been an immense blessing to my husband and I know the Lord has equipped her to build confidence in mothers across East Texas. If you're pregnant and looking for support and encouragement, Jackie is your girl.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm a big sap. I don't want to cry on podcasts, but I just want to say those girls are precious to me. And they're one of 117. Like every birth is so precious to me, but my heart is truly to serve women and serve
Sure.
them well. And so that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh
I've
my
got
gosh.
one more.
Okay. What?
One-
Hey Jackie, Dominique and David here. We just wanted to sing your praises about how awesome you are and how much you
Trying to
made
get
our
into
birth
the mic.
experience possible and just gave us our ideal home birth. You are so great with clients. You really pay attention. You know what you're talking about. You're super supportive, and we can tell that you're super passionate about what you do.
Yes, I sing your praises all the time because you know the story that we came from. So we tell people all the time that we could not have made it through without your support and the things that you did for us and staying on us and by our side for 23 hours straight and welcoming this little guy into the world with us and alongside us, and just seeing how excited about birth and how much you love birth. It's just exciting. It's exciting to us. It helps us keep pushing as well.
Oh, they're so sweet. See, how can you not love this work?
I know.
This is what I get to work with all the time. These
I know.
families that are welcoming their babies into the world is the biggest miracle. And to be like the honor and the privilege of being welcomed into these birth spaces is all mine.
Yeah.
But then I truly create relationships with these clients. Yeah, you might have to cut some of this out. Creating
It's fine.
relationships with these clients is so pivotal to what
Yeah.
I do, and it's why I do. It's why I get up. It's why I stay for the 24-hour birth, for the 48-hour births, for the 59-hour births,
Yeah.
and to serve, because I want them served well, and then to have them come back to me for repeat births, but creating these relationships
Sure.
where they feel served well
Yeah.
is everything to me.
Well, they definitely didn't hold back from when I reached out to them. They
I
were
can't
pretty
believe you did
immediate.
that.
Of course.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, we deal with mostly entrepreneurs and nonprofits, and you guys are givers. Like, you give time, you give a lot of energy, passion, intellect, reassurance, and all that good stuff. And, I just wanted to create a moment for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's super special, because
Yeah.
that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah.
truly having people say you made a difference. That's what it's about. If I
Yeah.
can make a difference in the birth space, one client at a time, I've done my job well. And so that's what it's about, and that's what the Upper Room is about.
Sure.
It's the place where the Holy Spirit came to the disciples in the Bible, not to get all super spiritual, but I'm a faith-based doula, and equipped and empowered them to go out and change the world. And that's what I want to do in the birth space, is help change the world of these mothers having these babies. So
Sure.
that's super
All right.
special.
Shout
So
outs now.
special. Oh gosh, does it have to just be one?
No, it's as many as you want.
Of course, like my heart is my husband,
Sure.
and he is the most supportive of my crazy ideas. He'll tell you, like, he's just always like, sure, babe. And I know he probably walks around the corner and is like, oh, good Lord, what are we doing? But from day one with this, when I said, I want to start my doula business, the kids are grown, he's like, absolutely. And he is the biggest supporter. When I walk out that door, he's like, go get him. I wish you he prays over me. He's always the first one to give me the big hug when I get home, if it's been a hard birth, or a high five when it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And he's just my biggest supporter, and I'm so thankful. I couldn't do it without him. He truly helps me in so many ways. He works hard, and he helps me in all the crazy things that I want to do, but this is the biggest. So
Yeah.
he's so amazing.
Cool.
And then I want to shout out, she's not a doula anymore, but she was my mentor when I started, Amanda Patton.
Okay.
And when I first became a doula, and every new doula would know this feeling, like you're floundering. You really are just like, what do I do now? Like, I don't know what to do with these. And so you have all the education and the stuff, but the practical part of it, the reaching out. And that girl, at 1 a.m, I could call her leaving a birth and decompress with her, or text her at 2 a.m. in a birth, like, What would you do in this situation? You know, what, and she was the biggest support for me, and probably the catalyst to why my business is as successful it is today, is that early start with her, and her being willing. It's hard. We're busy. Yeah. Being willing to take the time out of her day to take me under her wing, and always encouraging me, you've got this, you know, you can do this, you can do this. And so I have to give a shout out to Amanda Patton.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was
great.
Yeah, she was an incredible doula. She was doula for many years, and then stepped back away from that to spend more time with her family. Like
that's
I said,
awesome. Yeah,
it
good.
pulls you away from your family. So to spend more time with her family and in her community and doing things like that. But she still, to this day, will check on me. We still stay in contact. Awesome. And so she's precious. Amanda Patton. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, Amanda. My shout out, I forgot, but is Texas State of Mind Coffee. I don't know if you like coffee, but
love coffee.
They're a sponsor of ours, and it's made here in Tyler.
That's awesome.
They brew theirs, or they cook it with air instead of air roasted instead of gas roasted.
Oh, okay.
A little bit different than some of the other providers, but they're here in Tyler, and they're the coffee of Texas. I don't know if you know that or not.
No, but yes. I see the Lone Star.
Absolutely.
I did not. My husband and I both love coffee.
Great coffee made here locally.
That is incredible. A shout out.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciated it.
This was so fun.
We booked it so far out that sometimes there's a little bit of disconnect, but as soon as I met you, I knew we'd have a great conversation. Yeah. And it was awesome learning more about the dealership.
The dealership.
Yes.
I always say, let's doula this.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me on and having me share what I'm so passionate about.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Let's do it again.
Yep.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.